Have you ever played a D&D campaign so good that you genuinely wonder if any other campaigns will ever live up to it? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening to me right now. Our DM told us that this campaign can last as long or as short as we want. So naturally, I've decided it's going to run forever. I'm never letting this one end. Welcome in, I'm Hikaru, and I'm part of a VTuber group called Hysteria. We're an indie male VTuber group that makes content together. We're not an agency, we're not an org, we're not anything like that. We're just a small content creator group of friends who make stuff together. After we played some Baldur's Gate 3 and wrapped that up, I started craving something similar again. Aside from Divinity 2, because we played that one already, and yes, it is amazing. I've always loved turn-based TTRPGs, and of course, there's always that super famous one, Dungeons and Dragons. Friends have tried to get me into it for years, but for some reason, I never really gave it a fair try until now. You know what's the best part about being in a content creator group? You can force your friends to play with you. So Anju, one of my group mates, had just finished a campaign and hooked us up with his friend Zoe to DM for us. And honestly, it feels like the stars aligned perfectly because she's kind of the perfect DM for our group. I've played a couple of D&D sessions before, but never a full-length campaign. Usually scheduling issues or mismatched playstyles really kill the vibe, and I can't understate how important it is to find the right group for a game like this. But this group, it's the most fun I've ever had playing D&D, and I think I really want to stick with this for a while. I've been seeing a lot of videos, long and short, about why groups fall apart, and here's why I think my group is working really well right now. And feel free to jot these down as a checklist the next time you're starting a campaign to see if you can make your campaign as cool and memorable as you want it to be. So for one, we've got a DM whose style matches exactly what we wanted. We did a really awesome session 0 beforehand that just sets the basic core expectations of the campaign, including things like the ratio and the balance of how much we want combat as opposed to how much we want RP, or how intense it is, or what kind of themes we're okay with, and if there's any safety tools that we need to implement. That was really cool. I never did that in D&D games before this. I was kind of surprised about how professional this was. Even though the campaign wasn't super like flashy, they didn't have like super cool artwork or unique music for them or like all these awesome battle maps. It definitely had this professionalism to it that I really liked. And I think every D&D group should do a session 0 for those of you who are trying to get into a new campaign. Next, we worked with her to tie our group VTuber lore and character VTuber backstories right into the main story. So the theme of the group is villains, and the manor itself is like one living entity, and our goal is to feed it souls of powerful people, and then eventually when the manor gets strong enough, it can grant us a wish, like any wish at all, like stronger than the wish spell even. And we're just vibing for this wish. So it's pretty cool. Pretty much it's like kind of like an overlord situation. We don't really do a lot of villainous things, but we are a villainous VTuber group. As for our individual backstories, Zoe is really knowledgeable about D&D lore, and she helped us a lot in retrofitting our own individual lore into the campaign so that it fits and makes sense with the world that exists. I don't think a lot of other groups out there really have group lore that is super in depth or can be like played out live as part of a ongoing lore thing. And lastly, she's really good at balancing encounters, and the group is really good at just playing the encounters and being invested into the game. I think we can sidetrack into a little bit of a backstory about the first couple of campaigns that I ever played. So, my first ever campaign wasn't bad. It was with a DM who was my friend, but it had its like frustrations. I was a sorcerer, I'm probably a forever sorcerer at heart, in a party with a monk, a barbarian, and a wizard. And I think I was the only guy in the group who didn't know the other 3 people who were playing. Where everyone already kind of knows each other, I was really hesitant to be like pretty outgoing, especially as my first time in D&D. In general, this is my first time meeting these group of people. So the most memorable moment for me was on day 1 when we had an encounter with some werewolves. I feel like I'm really hesitant to say stuff like, hey, maybe don't do that, even if it would prevent the party from failing, because I don't really know them like that. And I don't know what's okay. People keep telling me that like D&D is a game about failures. And I'm like, do I just die here then? I don't really know. I didn't really know what that meant at that time. But now I think I'm still starting to understand. Now, I might be new to D&D, but that doesn't mean I don't understand basic game concepts. And what had happened was during the first session, We met up in the tavern and we were attacked by a couple of lycanthrope werewolf people or something, and two of them were relatively close to me, so I cast a sleep on them. One of them failed and one of them succeeded, so I proceeded to run some distance away to keep my distance after putting one of them to sleep. And on the turn right after me, the monk comes up and instead of attacking the awake werewolf, she starts punching the sleeping one, like waking it up from its sleep, and then proceeds to run at me and then crits me and I go down right after. Now, I didn't know what to do at this point. Like, I didn't want to be that guy who told other people what to do because this was really, really stupid in my opinion. But maybe they had a secret plan or something, or maybe I just didn't know the characters that well. Maybe she had like some secret ability, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure she just wasn't paying attention. Now listen, I don't mind if I go down to a bad roll. I don't mind if I go down to my own mistakes or a trap. But going down due to the carelessness of someone else is definitely a feels bad man when I don't know whether or not I should tell you not to do something. I shouldn't have to tell you not to do that, but it's very much like I've had someone tell me, don't tell me what to do before. And that kind of just shut me up for a while, saying like, okay, well, I guess I don't give my advice, and then it gets me down. So I'm really not sure how much I enjoyed D&D after that point. There was also a couple of other things about like how certain spells work that I think I just didn't mesh well or didn't understand what the DM was trying to tell me. And yeah, I get that the failure is part of the game part, but man, if it's avoidable, it just kind of stings. Anyways, due to scheduling conflicts, that campaign's probably never going to finish. So I guess there's not really a huge point in me talking about it now. Anyways, that was my quick little short story about that. Back to the main topic at hand. I see this a lot on different places, but there's a lot of DMs out there apparently who complain about how hard it is to balance encounters. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but just know that me and my group of friends are typically more of the strategic game player type of players. I think a lot of us play D&D because we find the combat entertaining and fun. The roleplay elements are really fun and cool as well, but we're big on tactical combat. Don't get me wrong, we love roleplay too, but since we're literally playing as our VTuber personas as ourselves, RPing is kind of secondary since these are all things that we would just have done as ourselves. By the way, this might be a little tangent and a hot take based on all the different opposing opinions here, but in my opinion, the best part about D&D is the combat encounters. Are there problems with it? Sure, but as far as I know, D&D is really just a template to do what you want with your game. You can bend certain rules as long as it's consistent, and you should have fun with the encounters. In my humble noob opinion, roleplay is a really cool part of D&D, but I'm not sure if there are any parts that are super unique to D&D that just involve RPing. Aside from the actual lore of the world itself, RPing is just something you can do anywhere or anytime. D&D is an RPG, that's what RPG stands for, role-playing game. But the thing is, when you roleplay, it doesn't have to be D&D. It could literally be anything. The template of D&D and the books, as far as I know, are how to play the game D&D, and that has to do with rules on dice rolling, how spells work, etc., etc. But when people are just role-playing as characters that they made themselves and throw themselves into a world, sure, the adventures are put together by D&D, but if you roleplay it a certain way, you can literally just do it however you want. I don't think it necessarily has to be related to D&D. Now that we've just hit level 6 and completed our first dungeon, let me tell you about our super cool homebrew powers, because in my opinion, this is the coolest part of our campaign. I'm not sure how you got here, but if you are a D&D player, you'll understand just how overpowered these are. And if you aren't, just trust me on this one, these powers are kind of super broken. So I'll just list these off to you guys based on who has what. For our open hand Tabaxi monk Anju, he gets an extra bonus action, so now he can flurry of blows twice on the same turn. Really not super complicated. For our Dampier death cleric Kuro, he got a vampiric touch that is essentially built into him now and is always active. I think he can just use it once a day without using a spell slot, or whenever he wants without using a spell slot, and it doesn't require concentration anymore, so he just... For our Tiefling Rogue and Warlock player, Mao, who is our only multi-class player, he can apply his sneak attack damage to his Eldritch Blast in his spellcasting. So he's kind of like a ranged skirmisher now, and he does hit a lot for these Eldritch Blasts. And for me, I'm an Aasimar Divine Soul Sorcerer. I got something super cool. It's custom meta magic, which reads, spend 2 sorcery points to change 1 word in the spell's description. For those of you who don't know how many spells I have access to, as a Divine Soul Sorcerer, I have access to both the Cleric and the Sorcerer spell list, and because I'm kind of a new player to D&D, I had to read through every single one of these spells to determine which one I would have the most fun with if I were to change a single word in some spells that are extremely complicated. So let me go over some of the things that I can do. There's a couple of rules though that Zoe put in here so that it's not completely broken. For one, I can't change numbers, so I can't change like 4d6 to 100d6. I can only swap out conditions for other conditions, such as like charmed to stunned. But if I do that, all the following text still applies. Remember, I can only change a single word. Next, I can only swap types to other types. For example, humanoids can't go to quote unquote creatures. Creatures can go to objects, but if the text specifies humanoids, I have to switch it to another creature type. For example, giants or fairies or etc. 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 And yeah, even with those limitations, there are some things I can't just straight up do. The sky's the limit with this one, kind of. Here are a couple examples of the spells that I picked out that are kind of super overpowered. I took invisibility and I changed the word from invisible to paralyzed. So instead of it being a defensive spell, it's an offensive paralyzed that I just touch someone or something and it can't move. And it's an automatic paralyzation. There's no saving throw on this. It just kind of happens. Next, feign death. I can change the word from willing to unwilling. So I can make someone play dead and they're forcibly stuck like that for the next, I think, few hours or so. This thing lasts forever. Ordinarily, this spell is completely useless because you have to do it on a willing target, but now that it can target anyone, it's just kind of overpowered. And another one, and my personal favorite, is suggestion. I changed the word can't to can, and the rest of the spell reads, cause harm to themselves and allies. And suddenly it's basically like mind control, but perfect. You might think that like, oh my god, these abilities are so crazy broken. But here's the thing with broken abilities. The DM is literally a god. There is no trump card. There's no trump to that. She can just homebrew bosses that counter my nonsense. For example, we fought enemies that were just straight up immune to status effects. There was a boss that can't be CC'd on their turn, so there was no point in me casting it. But it was half effective because they're CC'd outside of their turn. And if I don't gather enough info before casting, I sometimes waste my spells. For example, if I don't know the creature type of the thing I'm trying to stun, I can't change whole person's creature type to something I don't know about. Or if I don't know something's immune to charmed, I don't really know if I can charm like a whole group of things. She pulled the curtains back one time when telling us about an encounter in which she designed, in which we were supposed to deal with a difficult type of enemy, but we handled it so easily that it wasn't really a challenge at all. I don't think any of us took even a damage because we succeeded a couple of saving throws. And you know what she did? She just added another one. And then she added another one until the combat encounter started to balance out. I know people compare D&D to Critical Roles or Legends of Avantaris, but those take insane prep works and are geared more towards hardcore role players. We're kind of not that. For a few of us, it was our first campaign, so we didn't really know what to expect or what to ask for. But just playing the game itself with our spells and abilities, I think is just a ton of fun. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was really fun talking about it. I love gushing about this subject whenever I can. And if you guys want to watch us play it, we're on the Hysteria D&D channel every Tuesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we'll pick out something else. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!